Hi, I'm Vanessa, and I'm here with Carla again. Last time we talked a little bit about conducting virtual team meetings and understanding how to write effective email communication when working with colleagues in Mexico. So it's great to have you back today, Carla. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah, and I wanted to look a little bit further into the topic of giving feedback at work. And what are some important things to know about conflict management and dealing with conflict when working with my colleagues in Mexico? What are some things that I should know about the style preferences and kind of the Mexican cultural identity?
Oh, well, you raised an excellent question, Vanessa. I guess that's a very important topic to talk about, because here we have another big difference between the Mexican culture and the US and other cultures such as Germany or, I don't know, Swedish, etc. So the thing is that for Mexicans, there's really not a distinct division between your personal life and your work life. It's kind of blended together. So sometimes what you do becomes what you are. And this, of course, you can imagine how this could create problems when providing feedback. Because if you are telling an employee that his report was not well done or that he needs to improve this and that, in the Mexican culture, you would actually be criticizing him. That would translate for him to being incompetent or, something like that. While, for instance, for a German, telling him that the report was not good enough, he would say, okay, well, then that just means I need to improve my report and that's it, right? He wouldn't take it personally. So again, this could create some conflicts for foreigners coming to Mexico and trying to provide feedback to his or her employees. So first of all, I would recommend to start by saying, hey, I'm really happy with you, with your work, and but now I just want to talk about this particular task or this particular situation, just to help them divide, the personal stuff from the work stuff.
A little bit like framing it. So we're not talking about you as a person, we're talking about this specific thing. Just a little reminder.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. Kind of warming up, similar to what you said about email communication, about starting kind of warm before then going into the task. So reminding them about, we're happy with what you're doing here, and then let me give you a specific kind of item to work on. Yeah?
Exactly, yeah. That's a good way to approach it. Another way, because some US managers would say, hey, but I don't have time to be thinking about this every time I speak to each of my employees. So what he could say, as you just pointed out, frame it. Like if the US manager is in a meeting, just remind them, from the culture I'm coming from, giving feedback is something very familiar. I'm just talking about the task. I'm not criticizing any of you. So in a group fashion, just explain where you're coming from, just to, avoid some misunderstandings. And on one-on-one meetings, then maybe you could also, again, establish how you approach providing feedback.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm from the US, and I mean, it's really great when I get feedback. I also like to get, positive feedback along with constructive feedback. Just constructive feedback on its own is difficult for me as well. But is there other things that we should keep in mind? I know it can be a sensitive topic, or I know that being part of the group is quite important too in Mexico. So, would this be something that you would say we only should do this in private? Or, I mean, is there a good way to manage the right moment, I guess? How would I know was the right time to share this kind of feedback, some constructive feedback with somebody from Mexico?
Oh, that is a very good point to make. Yes, feedback, I would recommend to do it privately. Because again, as we talked when we were discussing emails and virtual meetings, we're very self-conscious in Mexico and also very hierarchical. So providing corrective feedback at a meeting or with other people, at the same time, it would really kind of embarrass the Mexican worker or the Mexican employee. Mm-hmm. So doing that privately could be best when dealing with the Mexican culture. And also, this takes us to a different thing, which is, well, very closely related, conflict management. Mexicans, for the same reason, try to avoid conflict. And as we know, conflict is sometimes good. I mean, if mistakes are being made, I mean, you need to talk about them in order to correct them. If you close your eyes to the mistakes or whatever is wrong, that would end up very, very badly. So, so conflict management is also something that you want to approach very carefully in the Mexican culture. And a Mexican employee would have a very hard time providing feedback or telling his supervisor or his boss that he has made a mistake. This has been changing in the younger generations, but it's still there. So again, because we're very hierarchical. So this could create a very serious conflict for you. You could even think about losing your job for, pointing out that your boss made a mistake. So,
because everybody knows the rules, so that they know that it's not appropriate. So if you do it, they know that you're consciously kind of being disrespectful, it sounds like, and to the boss. So then it would put you at risk. Because if I did that maybe with a U.S. American boss, I mean, depending on the situation, I wouldn't be so worried about losing my job, because there's more of a flatter hierarchy. There's a bit more of an expectation to work a little bit more like a peer with your boss. Go for a drink after work together, no problem. Very kind of casual, informal, is very much U.S. style. It makes me wonder, what if a peer, so we're at the same level, we're peers, would you take that feedback seriously? Or would you think, this is just for my peer, it doesn't have as much weight, it's not as important? Is there a different way of interpreting feedback? Or would you prefer to receive feedback from a peer than a boss? Is there a preference there?
Well, if there is a relationship, and that takes us back to this work and personal relationship blend, if you have a good personal relationship with a peer, and he tells you, hey, Juan, listen, I noticed that you said this and that, and I think that you should approach this problem this way and that or other way, then that would be perfectly fine. You could actually be even thankful, for your peer to pointing that out. But if there is not a close relationship, then they might take it again in a personal way, right? So that is why this conflict, and especially the constructive conflict, that becomes an issue. And I have heard numerous of US managers and German managers complaining about Mexican teams, saying, oh, they don't say anything, they wait till the very end moment when the problem is right there, or the bomb has exploded all over you, to say, oh yeah, that was wrong, I knew it. So they complain like they're not talking to me, they're not saying that something is wrong. And then I would encourage them to open the door to have a one-on-one weekly or bi-weekly session to establish a good relationship with their employees, so that they will feel confident enough to go to them and express if something is wrong, or they have an input or a corrective feedback that they would like to share. So
Yeah. So I'm hearing, that really investing in the relationship would be the way that kind of a supervisor would be able to get that important information of, that might be seen as a conflict or feedback that wouldn't be comfortable for the person from Mexico to talk about. So it makes me wonder, so if I want to consciously make an effort to build a good relationship with my team, myself as a US American, I'm thinking, maybe go out for lunch together, maybe go for happy hour one day, get to know them on a personal level, know their hobbies. Would these be appropriate if I was their supervisor? Where's the lines of appropriateness? Would that be, because there is the hierarchy, would that then be maybe too much? Is it better to start with just having lunch together versus, going out, I don't know, some people like to go golfing for business. I don't, but for example, where are the lines of what would be the right amount of interest in your personal life versus too much? Or does that even exist in Mexico? Am I just adding my own ideas here?
No, actually, as you said, yeah, being hierarchical, I mean, going for, to have lunch together, it's a good idea. That's always really good. And after work, yeah, you could go and have every now and then. I wouldn't really suggest probably to, like go on a regular basis with, with your employees, because that would take us to discuss a whole different matter. And that's how asking favors from friends is, what happens with that in Mexico. When you have what you consider a very close friend, then you would expect of him to, be able to help you. I'm sorry. So let's say that the company needs to, cut, or there's to let out, some people, and then this employee, if he feels that he have a very, very close relationship with his supervisor, like he's almost his friend, he could actually be expecting to, to have some sort of a special treatment.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess I would recommend just to be careful, and every now and then it's okay, but not on a daily basis. And also going out for drinks or something like that, it's almost mandatory with some customers. If you want to establish a relationship with government officials or other potential customers, it's almost expected of you to go out and have, socialize with them. I don't know, like a dinner or going for drinks.
Oh, that's great, because the last time I was in Mexico City, I met with some potential clients, and they invited me out to their favorite restaurant, and we had a really wonderful lunch. I never actually went inside their office. The only time we were together was at the restaurant, and so I guess I had a true, authentic experience.
That's where business are made, really, at a restaurant, not at an office. So so I guess you were completely right by accepting their invitation.
Yeah. Well, Carla, this is really interesting. And I've had such wonderful experiences myself working with colleagues in Mexico and visiting Mexico. I think the insights you've shared today and on our other call are definitely things I'll keep thinking about as I continue looking for more opportunities to work with people like yourself. Thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you, Vanessa. It was great.
Okay.